Good evening. Welcome to the Pitch Stripes After Dark. I am Uncle Tats, and I wanted to get into off the cuff the Luis Heel has won the Rookie of the Year, and it's a huge honor for him. It's a big step forward for the Yankees. It's a big step forward for the Yankees rotation going into next year. And I do apologize. The puppy has no idea what she wants to do, so she's just walking back and forth. So I do apologize for that. But no, Luis Heel winning the Rookie of the Year is huge for him. It's a huge congratulations. He had an amazing season, and it's not an award that I think should be taken lightly. Real quick, just want to say what's up to everybody that showed up early in the chat. What's going on, Jacob Petruzzi? Ken, what's going on, Ken? NFE from the Strike Zone. Yo, Sean Browning, good evening to you all. Yeah, I mean, when you have the numbers like Heel did, you have the grit is a big deal. It's something that needs to be acknowledged. And what's going on, Nick? What's going on, Brad? What's going on, Dev? So, yeah, big shout out to Luis Heel. We'll be on Wednesday. We will get into a deeper dive into how he ended up winning the Rookie of the Year award, but had to start it off with a big shout out to that. So, salute and cheers to Luis Heel, New York Yankees, the 2024 Rookie of the Year. Yeah, get the dog under control for once. You have no idea. You try controlling this dog. 125 pounds is not easy to control. But that is what it is. So the big topic I wanted to get into today is something I call every offseason is called the Scott Boras effect. And his bulldog attitude in the offseason for his clients is something that's really not to be reckoned with. He takes his job seriously. That's why he is one of the best agents in the sports market. I think that also goes across all sports. I don't think anybody does for his clients the way he does. And the issue is there going to be a hangover from last season where there were a lot of players that were just being strung along. Jordan Montgomery ended up getting screwed. Snell ended up getting screwed. So you have to wonder, because there was such backlash of his clients just being delayed over and over and over again to all the negotiations, as rightfully so, trying to get every penny for his players. Is it going too far? Because it does hold up everything. Everything goes to a standstill when the big guy is on the market. And the big guy for this offseason is, of course, Juan Soto, who's been meeting with a lot of teams. There's still a lot of teams he's going to be meeting with. I think that this is far from over. I don't think that there is a team that's been told, no, your pitch was bad. Still, everything is definitely on the table. No team is out of it. Just want to take a quick pause once again and get to some of the comments in the chat. So, like I said, Jacob Petruzzi, what's up, fam? Exactly. What is up, fam? Tats, hey, Tats, what's going on, Ken? NFE, Sean Browning, Nick, Brad, Dev. So we also want to bring up a couple of the comments, and we will get into it. And Nick is saying that Michael K doesn't sound too confident that Soto stays with the Yanks. Oh, this is going to – I think this is just a start of it. I don't think it's a lack of confidence. I don't listen to Michael K on his radio show, so I can't speak too much into this. But I do know that there are a lot of fans, a lot of broadcasters that are already acting like it's over, that the Yankees have no shot, and I think that's kind of not fair to the whole process. It's just one of these things where it's just that waiting game. It really is, and it sucks. The waiting game sucks because everything else gets held up. And I want to bring this comment also from the strike zone from NFE. The players are also responsible too. Players shot themselves in the foot this past offseason and they got greedy. And that's a big problem. It is greed. Everybody wants to make the most. Everybody wants to be the top dog. And it just doesn't always work out that way. Somebody's got to say, you know what, 60 million or 62 million. Do I really, is that really going to make a difference after my 15-year career of making that kind of money? Roy, where have you been? Salute, Roy. Dodger fan for life. Uncle Tats. Dodgers don't need Soto. I mean, our offense is good. Dodgers being used to raise the price tag. Why are Dodgers after Yankees? Dodgers need pitching, not Soto. That fact. That is a fact, Roy. I think the Dodgers need to go, and the Mets. I think they're going to have to go into some bidding wars over some of these free agent pitches. And it's going to that's where the bidding war is really going to lie. I think the Soto stuff. I said this morning. I think the Blue Jays are going to be kind of like that sleeper team that kind of holds up an official signing. But I don't think that they are going to be able to outbid Steinbrenner and Steve Cohen. I think the Blue Jays are out of their league, even with the money that they have to spend. This is when you're competing with two teams in the New York market. You're already getting ready to take the L. So that's just the way it goes. Ken's comment here. Boras is in his 70s. If he screws up free agency this season, it seems like there should be more to that. Let me know. Nick is also adding in that Boras definitely is bad for the game of baseball, in my opinion. I think so too. I think the way that the greed works from the players, when you're just as greedy with your agent, it's a toxic cocktail. It really is. If he screws up free agency this all season, he's done as an agent. Well, Boras is going to be one of these guys. He's going to keep doing this as long as he wants to. It's almost like, Cashman is the GM. As long as Cashman wants to be the GM of the Yankees, he's going to be the GM. As long as Boras is able to get his clients top dollar, then he's going to stay as their agent. I don't think there's a difference on that. Boras is just one of these guys where he is going to be every fan base's biggest pain in the ass this offseason. It doesn't matter what the player is, what position you're trying to fill. Anytime you hear Boras' name, like my cousin Nick, I think he's terrible. I hate the way that he manages these players, how he manipulates everybody. It just means he's good at his job. And sometimes when you're good at your job, you piss people off. So it's just one of those situations where Boras he really needs to come to earth. And I think this year I'm taking a gamble that Boras is going to be aggressive, but he's not going to force the offseason to go into pitches and catches. I think we're going to see a lot of players signed at that point. And Sean's bringing up a great point. Players will probably drop Boras as an agent like Montgomery. Montgomery was pissed. I mean, he took the option. He took the player option just to piss off the owner. And hats off to Montgomery, man. He was like, you know what? You said all that shit about me publicly? Well, fuck you. Now you have to pay me another year. And I think that was such a New York move. That's where that New York attitude that he adopted. Nick's adding in, don't sleep on the fact that Cohen just shed $200 million off his payroll. He is about to blow people's minds with how much money he spends this offseason. Well, it didn't even matter if he shed all that money. Cohen's going to be a huge player this offseason. I think that's a total given. What's going on now? Like, how is everything going? I know you said this morning you tagged us in a post on X about the Soto contract. I had a busy night at work. I got to sit down. I still want to read it. You took the time to put it out. I want to give you the respect of really giving it the attention that it deserves, and I'll give you my opinion on it. But as much as we break your balls about how far out there you are, you do put a lot of time into it and analysis. So whether we agree on it or disagree, I want to give you an honest opinion. So I hope you respect that. And if he is adding in, Blue Jays owners have money. They're not big-time spenders like Steinbrenner and Cohen. Well, and if he and everybody in the chat, do you think that possibly because you have, the Blue Jays core kind of getting up there in their years and trying to, just never being able to break through and be that gut punch and to teams in baseball? Is this a season with with Soto on the market, with the pitching on the market? Do the Blue Jays just finally go, you know what, screw it, let's just break the bank? It is what it is. If we get a championship or two out of it, or a good run out of it, and finally make the postseason, I don't know how their fans would feel about that. I might have to, maybe I'll try to get Blue Jay Dad on as a guest at some point during this off season to get his opinion on how he feels about his team in the AL East. Blue Jays Dad is a good friend of ours to the show, and I'm sure if the timing works out, he'd be more than happy to come on and hang out with us. But the Yankees are also, Nick, and everybody, the Yankees are also getting ready to shed a lot of payroll too. So it's, as much as, Big Bad Cohen and his big pocketbook, and all his money, I think that the expectations need to be toned down a little bit, because he could have been spending this money all along. And he learned really quick, just because you're paying the top guys the most money doesn't mean it's going to translate into a championship team. There also has to be that thing called chemistry. And, we've all been around baseball long enough. Chemistry is just as important as how much you're spending on the players to build that chemistry. Roy, I'm glad you're in the chat. I always enjoy when you're here with us. We know you're a Dodger fan, Roy. You are very well known and very well liked in the Chronicles family. Soto will have to take less money to sign with the Yankees, in my opinion. Cohen will continue to one up the Yankees offer until they fold. That's, that's also possible. And I don't think, if it goes into that bidding war, as long as a team bows out, and Nick, I want your opinion on this too, from the Mets perspective in the chat. If you get into that back and forth, and it just keeps going over and over and over again, back and forth, and one of the teams do back out, but it's it's a very respectable contract, where it's like, if he doesn't take this, he wasn't coming to us. He was just trying to bid up the team that he really wanted to go to. Is that something where you're like, you know what? It's, 15 years, it's $70 million per year. Is that where one of the teams goes, you know what? I have too many other holes that need to be filled, and they move on. As much as Soto is an integral part to a lineup, Um, is he the guy that should be making the most money in baseball? I don't know if that's true. I know that he is an integral part of the Yankees' success. The Yankees haven't been to a World Series. They bring in Soto, boom, there you go, World Series. Um, we didn't. It seems like we weren't there because the way the Dodgers kicked our asses. But we did make. We finally got to the World Series after 15 years. Now, hopefully, in the 16th year, we win the World Series. Getting back to it, it's all going to depend on how they construct this roster because the Yankees still have so many other moves to make. So, it's you're going to have to get into that bidding war that we've all been talking about, but it's also you still have other needs that you need to tend to. So, how much can you just keep saying, to a Christian Walker? Well, we really want you here, but we have to wait to see how much money is left in the budget after we sign. So, after the Soto decision is made, the other players don't care. They're worried about their own futures, and especially a guy like Walker at 34 years old. He's not going to want to wait forever. He's going to want a decent payday, a decent contract, but he's not going to sit around until spring training. He's going to want to know where he's going to go. Which is why, the clients of Scott Boras need to put their foot down and be like, you know what? It's one of these. If the Yankees or the Mets, if they get to this point, just say it's I, I'll take it. I know we could squeeze out a little more, but the team that I'm picking still has other issues that they need to address. So let's just keep this ball rolling, so this team can have its roster locked up going into pitches and catches, and we can start working as a team and building that camaraderie and the chemistry. So I think that's something that really I think it's going to get to one of those points where should there be a deadline on free agency where after a certain time frame, and this is something that's been going on, a discussion that's been going on for a while within the Yankees YouTube community. I did see the offer, LI. I told you I want to really sit down and read it. I was too busy at work to really sit down and analyze everything. There's so many other issues with baseball's off season. They need the salary floor. The I think the off season and there's no deadline for a move on a free agent, and it screws so many other things. It's a domino effect of negativity. It's a domino effect of fans getting to the point where it's the day before the players are required to report, and we don't even have our full roster yet because we're still waiting on that free agent. It's getting to the point where it's just a huge pain in the ass, and baseball really needs to take a look at some of these other some of these other sports that have these deadlines, and everything runs like clockwork. So these might be things that need to be looked at as baseball gets into this next generation of fans, because fans don't want to kids these days that are getting into sports have very short attention spans. I don't want to say that as an insult, but they have those attention spans where it's like, okay, they want everything at fast pace, which is why you get baseball had to come up with all these stupid rules to speed up the game. Where if you're from, my father's generation, if you haven't watched baseball in a while and you're watching it again, you don't even recognize how it's being played. And that's a problem. I think that's a huge problem. So It's definitely something that we're going to be diving into in and out through the off season as well, because I really enjoy that conversation. Maybe we'll have to do an open panel and really get a fun debate on that. Maybe we'll do that in a couple weeks, but maybe uh, right after the winter meetings, we'll use the after dark show as an open panel, um, and really get a chance to hang out with everybody on there before this goes to a members only chat, because this will be becoming a members only chat. So just keep that in mind, and we do appreciate all the new members that we did get today. So Nick, all right, what's Nick saying? Let me wet my whistle a little bit. That's why Mets fans are so happy Stearns builds teams the right way, but now he has money to spend too. Yeah, I think last year it was kind of like a reality check where he wasn't, he was so reserved in the other organizations that he worked with that he was really kind of having you know, he was like a split personality thing. He knew he had the money to spend, but he was still stuck in the mentality of I'm still within a budget. Um, so that's something that I think this year Stearns is going to still be himself, but now he's got the understanding of a guy like Steve Cohen going, no, you make the deal, I'll sign the check, and that's dangerous for baseball. Ken's adding in, he goes, the Blue Jays need 2 starters and 3 bullpen arms, third baseman, a corner outfielder. It's a lot of positions to fill. That's why I don't think that they're a huge player for Soto, but I do think that they're still going to they're going to take their time, and they're going to do their due diligence and sit with him, see what they can do. And if the bidding gets too high, yeah, the Jays are going to bow out. So Strikes on saying the game is not even speeding up at all. The games are taking much longer. Check my interview with Danny Espinosa earlier today. Absolutely. If definitely check out the Strike Zone and his interview with Danny Espinosa today. I'm going to be watching it as I wind down for the night after the show. And NFE and on the Strike Zone puts out phenomenal content. Working with our good friend Nathan, he gets a lot of great guests with a lot of good points of view, former players that kind of tell you what it's like behind the scenes. Nick saying again, Dan got busy at work. To answer your question, chemistry is the most important thing to build a successful team. I'm not sure how Soto fits that mold. Yeah, but if you're not sure if he's going to fit the mold to enhance the chemistry on the team, then why are the Mets going after him? Is it, it seems like that it doesn't make sense how the way you're putting it. Soto on any team would be good. But everybody's concerned about his defense, which is why they can't understand why, he's being offered so much money, because it's going to have to be more than a bat. I think his defense is fine. I don't, he's not going to be, a Bernie Williams out there. He's not going to be Judge. He's not going to be Paul O'Neill. We get that. The offense is not the highlight of his skill point. It's his freaking, it's his ability to get on base. He's got that curb appeal to get people into the ballpark. We saw there were a lot of the ticket sales went through the roof. There's the marketing and all the endorsements. There's more to Soto than just the player itself, and that's what's really drawing a lot of teams to want to talk to him, and teams should want to talk to him. He doesn't have to make a decision today. He didn't have to leave the Yankees meeting with a contract in hand. That's not how. If anybody thought that, then they just haven't been following the offseason as closely as most of us do. He's adding into it, Nick. Just because I don't know how he fits into the locker room, that doesn't mean I'm right. Stearns is way smarter than me. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, Nick. You are one of my favorite baseball minds to interact with, along with everybody else that's in this chat and everybody else that's watching this after the fact. And if you are enjoying this discussion, please hit that like button. Sub up if you have not and you want to join the chats in the future as we do all our shows live. And it does not cost anything to hit that sub and join the chat. So always feel free to do so. Sean Browning is adding in here. Hal understands that if he fails to do his best to re-sign Sono, there will be a riot in the Bronx. Oh, it goes the other way. Like I was saying earlier, Sean. If it gets to that point where you have just this tremendous offer from Steinbrenner and a tremendous offer from Cohen, and he picks one of the other team did what they were supposed to do. They made him the best offer that they can go. They went as high as they were willing to go. There's going to be a threshold where a team bows out. That's just the way it is. So I don't. That's why I proposed a question to the guys, last week. Actually, I think it was when just Donald and I were doing the show. Is there a number that you've put in your head? And if you haven't, and you're like, I don't care if he makes $100 million a year, you have to sign him. We're the Yankees, or we have Steve Cohen with his unlimited money. But on the business side of it, there's that ceiling that they're not going to go past. So I'm curious if you guys have a number for your ceiling, what that ceiling would be. Are you not going over 60? Are you not going over 70, 75? At what point do you say, you know what? He's not that generation of a player. I can't handcuff my organization for 15 years, paying $80 million a year. There's going to come to that where they get that ceiling where a team is going to be like, I can't do it. For me, I think that number is 60. If it's going to go over 60, I can't do it. There's not enough revenue. There's not enough revenue that's going to come in every year to justify that. And yeah, sure. And that's the way it goes every year. There are unreasonable fans with unreasonable expectations. But that's their right to their opinion. We may not agree with it. We may feel, all right, that's an opinion that's worth debating. Some are not. Some you just dismiss. You're like, all right, you do you. But that's just baseball. Adding in, we made ourselves clear to resign Soto. Yeah. Both teams have cleared enough salary where they can absorb to kind of get into this bidding war. That's what's making it so interesting. It's not like, like Nick pointed out, the Mets, clearing up $200 million. It's not like the Yankees haven't cleared up money where they can make a legitimate run at them. What's this rumor here? Rumors are Cohen is offered to pay Soto $50 million a year, more than any offer he gets. No way he gets that. It's true or false. We'll have to see. So for 50, what is that per year? Or they're already saying they're willing to pay him $50 million a year. Just clarify that, because if the Yankees offer 50, the Mets are going to 100. That's not going to happen. So I think the first part of that is right. That they're already willing to pay $50 million, which is fine. That's what I would say it was. Okay. They'll give him an extra $50 million. Okay, I got you now. So if the Yankees offer 6, the Mets will go up to 650. Gotcha. Yeah, but Nick, dude, is there a point where you're like, I mean, do you really want to have a player for $750 million? You still have to, and it's not just the Mets. The teams have a lot of fucking positions to fill. So I don't. I get distracted enough just doing that. Um, so I will look at it at some point. I promise you, bro. Um, and if he's hitting it, I don't even know what was offered. Apparently, the Mets offer was 660, according to Carlos Baega, which I don't believe is true. I was hearing. Yeah, there was 660. That was the Hector Gomez put a report earlier too. That it was what 640 or somewhere in that range. Francesa was saying that he's already heard an offer for over 7 from another team. LI, I think the Yankees can offer 700 million and get creative with the contract and fill the holes. Yeah. I already said I would give him 50. I would give him 15 years. Uncle Tat says the attention span of a goldfish. Sorry, Uncle Tat. You don't have to apologize. You've been Brad, you've been around from day one. You know it's true. I would give him the 700 over 15 years at 50 million per. I give him the opt out at the age of 31. Let him go back into the market if he feels like his value is increased. He doesn't have to exercise his option. And I see if the Yankees can get a team option, or I think any of the teams, if they're going to be going into a 15, 16-year contract, there has to be a team option in there. The team is going to want to have that in case of emergency break glass. So, the teams are going to do what's best for them as well while trying to entice the player. A team can offer, if they break a record, a team record, they get a bonus or some shit like that, Maega said 660 over 15 years, but I've also heard 702 for 12. No way to confirm any of those offers. No, because we play into this every year. We see all these reports that come out, and it's going to fall right into Adaf's comment. We get so hung up on because everybody wants to say they had it first rather than saying they got it right. So yeah, whether it's Passan or Curry, those are the two guys. If it's not from them, I don't buy it. Rosenthal, he's like a 50-50 split if he's on it or not. I don't take too much stock into anybody but Passan and Curry. Those are the two guys I follow. Yeah, for all we know, the Giants sneak in and sign him for 700 million. Hate the damn Giants. Yeah, I mean, your sister would enjoy that. See that, go to the ballpark with the kids to see him play. But we all know that the only way that's happening is if a New York team is going out to San Francisco. He's not leaving this is a battle of the boroughs for Soto. That's it. I don't think there's really another team that's going to be able to get involved. They can't. I don't think there's an owner out there that has the stones to get into a bidding war with Steinbrenner and Cohen. You're not going to survive. So I think they just let sleeping dog lie and just say, you know what, let those two let the New York teams fight it out and put all their budget into one player. So they're playing in Toronto. Yeah, him and Otani, right? That's why you gotta read the tea leaves sometimes and see who's just trying to make a name for themselves. That's a big part of it. Big part of it. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't think any of us know what's gonna happen. We can hope for what happens. Yeah, Arson Judge signs with the Giants. Believe me, Ken, we're never going to forget that. I don't think he's ever going to recover from it. I do like that he did have a lot of fun with it last offseason with some of the players. But it's really the Arson Judge thing was hilarious. It almost crashed the whole freaking internet. And it could happen again today, this offseason. Yeah, that's what we were just saying, Sean. The John Heyman tweet with Arson Judge. I don't think John Heyman, but he has purposely made a few mistakes and had some fun with it on his own. So I do give him the respect for that. He does know his baseball, but when it comes to with the free agents, just cover the story after it's announced. Just spare yourself. Yeah, pie in the face. That's all he ended up with. All he ended up with was pie in the face. Let's see if any of these. Let's go through a couple more comments. Would be a real slap in the face if the Mets signed Soto and the Yankees counter by signing Pete, and Pete comes in and hits 40 home runs for the year for the next 5 years. Well, we do also need a first baseman. Like I said, I made the joke earlier in the year that I would sign Alonso just to kind of stick it to the Mets. But it could possibly be a reality. I wouldn't do it. The only guy I'm really interested in right now is Christian Walker. I want to give, he's a guy that at 34, you can get him on a 3-year deal, let him finish his career in the Bronx, and give time for us to develop a first baseman. I think Ben Rice can fill that spot. And then your catches would be Austin Wells and Carlos Narvaez. I think that rounds it all out. I think the catcher's positions, I think that's the one position for a change is not an issue. I think our catchers are set. We have our everyday catcher. No, I agree. I don't think, and if the Yankees won't sign Alonso, it's not going to happen. If they do, am I going to be pissed off? No, but it would have to be where there were no other options. There are free agents. There's the international free agency. It's like I keep saying over and over, this is free agency. There's going to be, sometimes they always say behind every rumor is a little bit of facts. Not when it comes to sports and free agency. Don't believe everything you read. Salvador Perez. No, he's not a good fielder. I know his bat. His bat is one dimensional. He's just going to hit you a lot of home runs. He doesn't have a high on base percentage. He's got a high strikeout rate, and we already have a bunch of those. Soto signs with the O's, Ken. All right, but you did add in here. There are sleeper teams with all free agents. D-back snuck in inside Zach Greinke, out from under the Dodgers' nose. The Yankees snuck in and snatched the sheriff from the Red Sox. Oh, there's a bunch of them. But I mean, I think the Yankees are still looking for a first baseman since Teixeira moved on. We've had a few. Rizzo just as much as he was respected, and I loved him as a player. We got him too late in his career. It was a necessary move, but it was just too late for him to have any sustained long success. So one other thing I want to bring in before we head out is if you're the Yankees, are you focusing on? And this is something that always gets discussed in the chats. And I'm sure, like myself, I'll speak for some of the other hosts. We always enjoy the back and forth. Is Chaz Jism? Is he going to be able? Do you prefer him going back to second, or would you keep him at third? And depending on that position, would you rather? Who would you rather have playing second or third base on the Yankees? I think the best thing to do. What's going on? Yankees World 27. Megatron Soto staying with Yankees 100. No one wants to play for the Garbino Mets. No, I mean, we're going to have plenty of time to make fun, to rag on the Mets and the Mets fans to kind of poke at us. We've had Dodger fans that have come on, some great fans from other teams come and have some really great interactions, and we always like poking at each other. But yeah, nobody here that's a Yankees fan is looking to hand the Mets any credit for anything. The Mets don't want to hand the Yankees any credit, and that goes for any fan base. But it's still a lot of fun. But who would would you prefer Jazz to just stay at third or go back to second? I'm curious what you guys say in the chat. So that's going to be the final talking point for the evening. I think that Jazz is better off going back to second and putting Durbin at third base. I think that would really solidify a big part of the infield, with Volpe at short and question mark at first base. Jazz should play second and bat ninth in the lineup. I don't know about ninth. I still say put Jazz back at second. Brad's agreeing. Jazz at second. What do you think? This if he has a solid spring training and he's working the count, do you see Jazz as a possible leadoff hitter now that we've moved on from Torres? That's the other angle to the discussion as well, because a friend that I work with, who that was one of his ideas, was to have Jazz as a leadoff hitter with Jazz, Soto, Judge, Wells as you 1 through 4, with Stanton batting in the 5th spot. I said that's actually a pretty legitimate start to the order. Ken, I would personally trade Jazz this offseason. He has an extensive injury history, strikeouts a ton, bad situational hitter. I can't argue that, Ken. He does have the injury history, I think the Yankees are just going to have to roll with it. And, the Yankees have the depth where they could afford to let it roll with Jazz. Brad's saying if Durbin makes the roster, then he leads off. I mean, he's another on-base machine. I mean, you get him and Soto 1-2 with Judge on deck. I think that has the potential to be a tremendous lineup. I'm old school when building lineups. I like Jazz rolling the lineup over in the 9th hole. No way do I bat him leadoff. Strikes out too much. That's a fair point. No, we do, because I only said I wouldn't bat him. I'd bat him leadoff. I'd actually like to keep Volpe in the 9th spot. I think Volpe's a good player to roll over the lineup. I think his bats are better when he doesn't have the pressure at the top of the order. As much as I championed it, I was very, very excited when they gave him the chance for the leadoff spot. but it messed with his head too much. He's not reliable for it. I think it messed with his head. Batting in the bottom of the order is a good one. Volpe at 9 is way better. See, Brad, we agree on stuff. Sean saying Jazz and Volpe back to back 6-7. That's not a bad idea either. It's really not. The other question is, where are you putting Dominguez in the order? That's another question. Are you going to put him at the bottom of the order to start the season, and just to let him get acclimated? Here's a name that even Rubino would get behind. He's been advocating for Brendan Donovan. Also, there was a trade for Brendan Donovan. He is a versatile infielder who plays third and has leadoff experience. I'm not opposed to that. He's not at the top of my list, but he's up there. But I think Brendan Donovan's an excellent ball player. I would definitely take him on my team if it's right. Nick, please tell me you're not as old school as Uncle Tats or ancient school. We are not that far apart in age. Love Donovan, but not the leadoff spot. Start him 8. Let him for Dominguez. I'm assuming that's what this is, Sean. Start him at 8. Let him adjust to the big league pitching. Move him up later. That is an option as well. I mean, there's tons of options. Maybe we'll get into some lineup predictions of who, if we were the GM. 6-hole Dominguez, Ken. Okay. I love Donovan, not in the leadoff spot. Nick is saying. Maybe we'll have a little fun where, if we were the GM, how would we construct our lineups going into next season? Whether it be current players, our farm system, free agents. Tats is the old bull. I'm the young calf. Something like that. Maybe sometimes I feel older than the old bull. Just put me out to pasture. But that is going to wrap things up for this week's After Dark. Hope everybody enjoyed the discussion. I sure as shit enjoyed interacting with you all. We will be back on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. with the guys. And hopefully we'll have a lot more updates or predictions, rumors on the Juan Soto move and some other free agents that we've been waiting to hear on. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how everything starts to unfold this offseason. It's going to be fun. And it's going to be fun interacting with you guys. And I enjoy doing these shows at night. So I appreciate everybody that did come in and give a little bit of your time. So with that being said, make sure you hit that sub button, like this video, share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. This has been the Pinstripe Chronicles. This is where fans become family. So wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.